Hi friends, happy Sunday. It's been a little while since I did a video, or at least it feels that way. I hope you all are doing great. Um, just moving through these transitional times as we all are. And I just felt a little guidance to share some things that we've been talking about in our circles lately, but I just felt like maybe it was a good day to share some more. And part of that is one of the feelings I've been getting lately with all the things that have been happening, and I know we've all been learning and growing a lot, a lot of transitions, which that's what this year was all about, right? Moving us into 2020 vision. To do that, sometimes we have to need a little assistance in stepping out of what no longer serves us and helping us to identify the things that are in our way or stopping us from being in our full potential. And so it comes up in all slews of ways. And that's what we've been seeing and noticing. And anyway, one of the things that I've been getting, and for what's coming, because there are more transitions to come, and an important part is to not panic. Is to, what I find is like when we can just kind of stay in the moment, and like when something shows up, no matter how it looks, if we could just stop ourselves and breathe and ground and just remember the times that we're in, remembering the higher meaning or spiritual meaning behind it all, that it's not just this terrible thing that's happening to you. It may seem and feel that way, but it's actually like a part of our own evolution. It's part of our, the changing and the shifting and the transitions that need to happen to bring us in alignment with the life that we want to live, globally, individually, everything. And so if we're panicking, then we're automatically coming out of the moment, and we're coming from a place of fear, of anxiety, of, either from what happened in the past, or we're connecting it with something terrible that happened or hurtful, or we're afraid of something that might happen or trying to avoid something. And so we're not really being able to think clearly or listen to the guidance that's coming through to guide us through the moments. And right now, this is where we're starting to live out of a new foundation, and the new foundation is basically living in the unknown. It's living in the moment and in the flow with the universe, and like nature, just like allowing ourselves to be as things show up. And so that's why it's important to not panic, because if we can stay calm and centered, then things can just pass by. So we might have an experience or a seeming obstacle, something that occurs in our life, whether it's with people or relationships with, sometimes people leaving, sometimes jobs changing, financial stuff changing. And instead of panicking, we can be like, okay, you know what? I trust the process of life. I am safe. So this seems terrible right now, but if I just let it go and not hold on to any thoughts about it, especially any fearful thoughts or, past scares or hurts, then it can just be a layer that is lifting, a layer that is clearing, and it's redirecting me on a course that is more in alignment with where I'm going, what's more in alignment with my heart and my passion here on the planet. And that's honestly what's happening, is there's so much clearing, and it's really trying to get us into a place of being in alignment with ourselves. And so this is also a really great time, as I've been sharing, with getting in tune with yourself, learning to love yourself, if that's setting healthy boundaries, which is a really good one. It's taking care of the self, maybe cleaning up our diets, cleaning up our minds, cleaning up our space. So and starting that, we can, when we are in the moment and we're in this clear space, we can start to create what feels good for us. And when we're in that space, that's when our vibration starts to change, and we start vibrating at a higher frequency, and then we manifest based on that, because the universe doesn't judge. It just responds to what we put out, and it brings us more of what we're focusing on and what frequency we're putting out. And so that's how we can shift a lot of what's happening right now too. If you are seeing stuff that you don't like, if you can just shift your vibration, and this is some of the ways that we do it, all of a sudden this stuff around you will change. It just starts to look different. And it doesn't mean that maybe you'll still see some of the stuff in the world, but it doesn't mean it has to affect you that way. And then again, the more of us that do this, it starts to spread. That ripple spreads, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we start to see it more in the collective consciousness, in this the bigger puzzle instead of just our individual piece. But we always want to start at our individual piece, within us. And so again, this time is not only a great opportunity, but it's crucial really to start looking at our own piece and to look at, in our lives, like where have we been coming from? Like a lot of us have been just living on automatic pilot. Like that's what we were taught to do. And we learn from a very young age sometimes to do things that maybe weren't what was really in alignment with our hearts, but we did it whether it was for the money, whether it was for the pressure, the family, trying to be supportive, whatever reasons, maybe just because we didn't want to make a decision. But it kind of kept us out of alignment with ourselves. So it's a good time to start readdressing that. Like, think about when you were a child, like, what did you love to do? And even if you can't remember that, that's okay. Start fresh. Start exploring. Start like looking, like being conscious in each moment and seeing what brings you joy. What do you like to do? And it doesn't matter what it is, because I tell you what, there's a calling for each thing, whatever it is. and there's a way of sharing that with the world. And sometimes, you maybe, because of what you've seen so far, what we've been taught, you might not be able to connect the dots of how that can play out. Like, how do you share that? How does that, be something that is productive or efficient for like society? But there's always a way. And we're in this midst of this new foundation and creating new ways for everything. So there are no limits except for the ones that we put on ourselves, or unless we're holding on to the past of what we were taught. But we're moving beyond that now. We're actually already beyond that. So and think about it, up until recently, like we weren't even, for the majority of humans, not all, because there are exceptions, but for the majority of humans, we were only living at a very small percentage of our potential. Very small, less than 15, I think, percent, maybe even less than 10 for most. So this is a time where we can go beyond that and really tap in to more of our full potential and allow it to guide us and move beyond the limitations that we learned and that we had set for ourselves and our world. And then again, the more we start doing that, we start setting new examples of like, that's not going to stop me anymore. I saw a really great post the other day. It said something about, if somebody tells you can't do something, do it twice, show it. Like, there's no limitations. We just have to move beyond what we've set in our mind, and like by tapping into our heart and being in the moment, those are the keys to do it. And again, it's a great time to explore that and to walk through your fears. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have the fears or any of that, because we're in this world of duality, of polarities, right? They're always going to be there, but we learn to embrace them. We learn to feel it, but not let it stop us. We feel it and keep walking anyway. Oh yes, I see you. Hi, how are you? Fear. Hi, how are you? Sadness. Hi, how are you? Pain. I'm going to keep walking. And it just will pass. Or if you just notice it, it passes. That's how it works. But it's when we grab onto it and we hold on to it and we get sucked in that we stay there. And then that's when we can't, like, we're like a deer in headlight. We can't move, right? But we're coming out of those days. Those days are gone. And so the more you consciously open up to this, the more you will see it in your life. And this can be playtime. This can be a very exciting time. And we also have to, to do that, we have to work with detachment, letting go of attachments to people, to situations, to relationships, to things, to money, to whatever it is, or how, like, ideas and thoughts, the way we were thinking, and let go and allow yourself to be open and be taught through nature, through the moment, how to move beyond those. And then we're letting go of expectation, and now a new world can emerge. A literally new world can emerge, and it's happening, and I see glimpses of it all the time. Many of us have seen those little glimpses throughout our lives, and I was thinking the other day that this is my last week of my 40th or my fourth decade, and ready to step into a real big transition in my life in many ways, and I'm excited. And I was thinking the other day, and I was just like looking at all the moments in my life that I was able to move beyond a situation that people told me wasn't possible. And it, from my health to house to money to trips to, I mean, you name it. When I stop and I think about, there were so many, like, you know, an event that we did at one point that nobody thought was possible, the way that we could do it, we could pull it off. And it was magical. It was magical. But that was by surrendering and moving beyond the seeming limitations that I was taught, and even that I had in my own mind, letting spirit, my higher self, guide me. And then amazing things happen. Things happen in a way that we never, the other part of us didn't think possible, and people around us didn't think possible. And I've seen this over and over and over in my life. And I know that you probably have too. Think about those moments. What were you doing? You allowed yourself to move beyond the limits. You defied what the seeming reality you had created for yourself or somebody else created for yourself. This is time to move even beyond that. There is unlimited possibilities in our world every single moment. You don't have to know how to create it. It's actually better when you stop trying to figure out how to do it and just open up to those unlimited possibilities. A lot of times I'll just be like, you know what? I'm ready. Thank you, universe, for showing me the way. Thank you, higher self. Thank you, universe. And then it's my job to stay in the moment and trust and listen to the nudges or the guidance that come in to show me the steps to take. And then it's also my job to catch myself and correct my thinking when I find myself forgetting that I surrendered and that I was in a place of trusting the universe and that I know that I'm supported by the universe and always, and I'm safe. And then I re-correct those thoughts. And I just be like, wait a minute, whoa, I wasn't trusting the process here. Oh, I was trying to take control again. Oh, I was, you know, in afraid of something else happening or not, the universe not having my back. But that's not true. So let me come back. And when I do that, again, things are shown. Steps are shown. Little nudges here and there. And that is where the magic happens. And we are creating a new world, and I, for one, am ready for just this amazing, amazing world, that the potential of what's there is beyond what we've seen. And I have had glimpses throughout my entire life, little intuitive glimpses of what that world can look like. And I've been waiting for these days, and I know many of us have. And I know sometimes it's like you go through the uncomfortable growth phases, just kind of like kids go through as they go through their teenage years and all of that, all the different stages we have to go through, right? It actually continues through life, right? Though I know it, each time it led me somewhere better. It led me somewhere more closer to myself. And so those challenging moments actually ended up creating the most beautiful aspects of me or my life. And so I remember that as these little new whatever challenges are coming up. And then if we recognize that when we are feeling challenged, start to look at where you're resisting, where you're not trusting, because that's all it is. And come back to the moment, and guess what? That challenge passes. It changes. And we are so powerful. We're so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for sometimes. And this is the time to step into that. And so anyway, I just felt a little guided to share that today, and with lots of love and just excitement for all of us and what we're creating. And it doesn't matter what the narrative picture sometimes looks like. I see beyond that. And I know what's possible, and I know that amazing things and magic is in the air. And so it's depending on what you want to look at. So much love and hugs to you all, and we'll talk again soon.